Hi everybody, it's Brooke Harris, one half of the leadership team of theopenbox.com, where our vision is to make wholeness more accessible. I want to do a quick little video, kind of a rant, on the sermon that I know many of you have heard about what Jamal Bryant did. And Terrell asked me to do this because I really just didn't even want to bother with it, honestly. But I, heard some things about it. I listened to the sermon myself, and I just had a lot of things came to mind for me about it. And I normally don't kind of critique people's sermons because, I don't go to church, I don't care. I do care, but I don't care because, I'm not really connected. But it was so troubling to me in listening to it for so many reasons. And I actually wrote a couple of notes about it. Had a lot of things on my mind about it. So, one of the things, I'm just going to jump right in. One of the things that kind of bothered me was he started off talking about the 300 girls that were missing in Nigeria and the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. And he moved right into saying a hashtag about bringing our fathers back because, the black family is all dysfunctional and all this messed up stuff and whatever. And my initial thought was, did he just minimize the missing 300 girls? Like, you just minimized it right then. The hashtag should be, well, it's not a hashtag should be. Like, you just minimized it. And I was kind of like already just kind of taken aback by that. Then he started talking about gay men, called them sanctified sissies, and how, having so many women in the church, where there's like, what did he say, like 75% of women, 70% or something like that of women in the church, and how the church is so emotional, women are so emotional, whereas men in the mosque and everything, they're more thinkers. And so I'm sitting there like, wait a second. So you just minimized the 300 girls missing. You just called gay men sanctified sissies. And then you just said that women are emotional, as if men don't have emotions. Newsflash. Humans have emotions. We might express them a little differently, but we are all emotional beings. So that right there is creating gender stereotypes and everything. And I'm just kind of watching it like, oh my gosh. And first of all, there's nothing wrong with being emotional. Nothing wrong with being emotional. And then he starts talking about people being single and said something about not having favor as a single and women's purpose, man finds a wife finds a good thing. So basically women's purpose is to give support to the man, because the man without the woman doesn't have favor. So, okay. So I just wonder what that means for people who are single and for people who might stay single because they want to or because it just doesn't pan out for them. What does that mean? You don't have favor? And for the woman, our purpose, we have so much purpose when we're with a man. Like, wow, seriously, I did not know that I was created for Terrell. Didn't know that. Did not know that. Oh gosh, my life has so much meaning now. Sarcasm. And then he mentions about side chicks. He starts talking about side chicks, and I'm very confused because the scripture he's talking about is about Pilate and the wife sending him a note saying don't do this, but Pilate ignores her. Where's the side chick? And especially since he goes off on a rant about the side chicks, even eventually saying these hoes ain't loyal. And I'm utterly confused because I remember hearing about Jamal Bryant having infidelity in his marriage and potentially doing stuff with the women in his congregation. I don't know if it was one or more than one. So I'm very much confused about this whole side chick talk when he had side chicks. But there was no addressing of that. And Terrell mentions this in the article he wrote about, in reference to the sermon, about side chicks and how powerful it could have been if he was going to say something like that, to use his own life as an example. But of course he would not use his own life as an example because a lot of times there's not a lot of honesty or vulnerability in the pulpit from the ministers, and that's controversial. Some people think, there should be this hard boundary, but I feel like there has to be some sense of honesty with it, or else the ministers do perpetuate the pedestal that congregations place them on. And I think that becomes a problem, because then ministers are looked at as supposedly being perfect because of the congregation, but then, you perpetuate it by having them to kind of shatter that a little bit. Like, listen, we're human with a calling just like you. Our calling is just different. So, yeah, okay. So then also, see, I'm going. Okay, I gotta calm down. Okay. So then when he mentioned the song "These Hoes Ain't Loyal," I couldn't help but wonder, what hoe? Are you calling Pilate the hoe or somebody else the hoe? I don't get it, because I'm not sure who was the hoe in the story. And then the song by Chris Brown is talking about women in a derogatory way. So I'm not sure why that would be used in the pulpit, except to be salacious and to get a reaction. But what are you doing when you're doing that? You're forget the fact that he's doing that, that the song is problematic in itself, as a lot of songs are, particularly by rappers, where you're talking about women and you're objectifying women, you're talking bad about women, you're demeaning women. But now you say it in the pulpit and everybody's clapping and yay and ha ha ha, yeah, high five, boom, got it. But what are you saying and doing in turn to women? We're hoes. Where I've even heard a minister call a woman, like in church, slipped up and called them broads. We're broads, we're all these things. And our focus should be on men. Because our purpose is for them and to help them with their purpose and their vision. So we're created for men. So forget the fact that we are also created in God's image. Forget the fact that God has placed gifts in us. Forget the fact that we are mothers and daughters and sisters and aunts and cousins and wives to black men. Forget that, because our purpose is just for them. We are co-creators. We are equal. But no, forget that. No, we're not. We're just here for men. And we need to honor that. I don't understand that. And so things like that really bother me, because I think it does a disservice to the divinity and the divine in women. Because if you're looking at God, in my belief, God is masculine and feminine. Humans are masculine and feminine. So just as well as I'm a woman, in all my femininity, I also have masculinity within me. And so both sides of that need to be honored, just like women need to be honored as well as men. And I think it's troubling to have language like that in the pulpit, language like that from comedians, language like that in rap songs, language like that in our discussions, because we are tearing black women down when we do that. And, a lot of us are already fully aware of the issues in our community, the issues that our people have faced in terms of racism and everything else. But black women get a double slap when we have to endure sexism, and we're enduring it by our brothers, by our fathers, by our friends, by our husbands and all that. When we endure that, it's sad to me. It's sad to me. And it frustrates me to no end, because we're all powerful. We're all blessed and divine creatures. And when men talk about us in that way, and when we as women okay it, yeah, I know somebody like that. I know some hoes that ain't loyal. Yeah, high-fiving it up. We're just perpetuating this nastiness and hate for women. And it needs to stop. And we need to hold each other accountable. There needs to be people who say, no, that's not okay. It's not okay to call women hoes. It's not okay to say things just to get a rise out of people. It's not okay to talk about us in such crazy ways and to act like, our problems that there aren't layers to this thing. that, oh, just women, angry black women and, they hoes and bitches and everything else. Like, we need to be mindful of our language. The Bible does say there is life and death in the power of the tongue. You can't just say things just to get a rise. We can't just ignore the fact that women are being attacked and have been for centuries. We are not objects. We are not here to be your cook and your housekeeper and all that. If we choose to, do what we choose to do, that's fine. But we are just as powerful and equal to who God created. Man, we are. And that needs to be honored and respected. And I say that needs to go out from the pulpit and beyond. Like, we need to be mindful of what we're saying, and we need to stop it. It's time, it's ridiculous, and it's disheartening. And so I am not angry about it. I have a righteous indignation about it. And it's time that other people start to have it too, including men. That's why I'm very grateful and just, feel blessed to have Terrell to feel that way. If you read the article, please do. Feel the way that he feels, because it's important for men to step up and start having women's back the way that men want us to have theirs. It's time. And so I'm off my soapbox. But I challenge everybody to really look at how it is that you're talking about women and girls. What you're saying about them, what you're okaying, and the ways in which you stay silent about things, because that says a lot as well. So, hope to hear from you. Shoot us a tweet. I'm at Brooke on Twitter. Comment below. I'll be curious as to how you feel about it. Maybe you totally disagree. That's okay. Doesn't change how I feel. But hopefully you do agree, or agree in some way, and we can start having some serious dialogues about this that can hopefully get the wheel going, the wheel turning, so that we can have some real conversations about this and some real change about this. Thank you for watching. This is Brooke Harris again with theopenbox.com.